For many centuries, the small moon of Voltron 6 had remained quiet. No war, no cities, and no signs of life. Only rocks, frozen dust, and deep silence. But on one normal day, a group of alien researchers landed there with a mission. They were not soldiers or explorers. They were archaeologists. They searched for lost things, old machines, forgotten structures, and ancient signals. Dr. Kelver, a tall alien with thin silver skin, led the team. His race, the Zalari, had sharp minds and long memories. He held a strange old map, passed down from an ancestor who once fought in the Great Human Wars. This map showed a strange shape hidden beneath Voltron 6. Many had ignored it, but Kelver believed there was something worth finding. "Start the scanners," he said calmly. As the team used their ground-penetrating sensors, strange readings appeared. It wasn't just metal, it was thick, layered, and curved like a hull. It was massive, larger than any known ship. The researchers stared at the readings in silence. "This cannot be right," whispered one of the team members. "It's real." Kelver replied, "We found something, buried for centuries." As they dug deeper, strange things started happening. First, the scanners began to glitch. Then, one of the drilling machines exploded without warning. And finally, a low sound began to rise from the ground like a deep hum, soft but heavy, vibrating through their bones. Was that ... A voice asked a young assistant. They heard words, not from their translators, not from any modern database, but from the deep systems below them, spoke in English, the ancient human language. "System integrity stable, awaiting command." Dr. Kelver's hands shook. "English ... It's a human ship. Not just any ship. This could be one of the old carriers. The kind the Council erased from history." Double quotes. Fear spoke quickly. The Galactic Council had always spoken of humans like a mystery. Extinct. Others said they left the galaxy. But everyone knew the tales. Stories of war machines that flew alone and still won. Stories of human ships that never surrendered, no matter the odds. Kelver sent an emergency message to the Galactic Council. Within hours, a science fleet arrived, a mix of ships from 5 different species. Small frigates, scouts, sensor platforms surrounded the moon. Council Commander Trevak looked down at the cracked surface from orbit. "Get me a full scan," he ordered. His screen flickered. What appeared made him lean forward. Beneath the dust, under layers of metal and stone, was a full human supercarrier. It was shaped like a dagger, long and wide, buried deep like it had been hidden on purpose. And worse, its core reactor was still giving off energy. "That reactor should be dead," said his science officer. "How can it still be active after 500 years? Before Trevaka could answer, a warning alarm echoed on the bridge. "Energy. Spike detected. Unknown origin." They watched in shock as the moon began to crack further. Panels of dust and stone were pushed aside by automated systems. Part of the ship's hull lifted, revealing sharp towers and strange symbols glowing. Red shields flickered to life. Old cannons rose from hidden bays. Above it all, a flag appeared, half-torn but still flying. It showed a human eagle. Bold and proud, Commander Trevak stepped back. "That's not just a ship. That's a Leviathan-class carrier. There were only 3 ever made. And all 3 were lost," his officer whispered. "Until now." Panic started to spread. Across nearby sectors, communication lines lit up. Empire leaders shouted. Traders rerouted their ships. Some even began to prepare for war. On the moon, the researchers were ordered to leave. The Council didn't want civilians near the relic, but Kelver stayed. He watched as the ship fully woke up. Lights flowed across its body like veins. Presence felt alive, like it had been waiting. He stood alone before the giant hull and spoke softly. "You were never dead, were you? You just slept. Now you're awake." Above, the science fleet tried to make contact. "This is Galactic Vessel 017. Identify yourself." No answer. Human ship respond. Still nothing. When a probe got too close, it was vaporized instantly by a point defense laser. Commander. Trevak's face turned pale. This thing, it still defends itself. Messages from the Council were clear: observe, but do not engage. Do not provoke. Deep inside the ship, old systems hummed. Ancient computers processed new data. Sensors picked up alien fleets nearby. One protocol after another activated. In a sealed chamber, something moved. A cryopod slowly opened, releasing a tall human figure in an old gray uniform. Frost covered his face. His eyes slowly blinked open. System time. 512 years. Whispered, he stepped forward, confusion on his face, looking around at the cold room and the flashing lights. He saw a panel blinking red. Humanity. Status unknown. Location. Enemy territory. He reached out and placed his hand on a control screen. The ship responded with a soft beep. Outside, the ship's lights grew brighter. Ground shook again. And the entire galaxy, watching through distant cameras, felt the same cold realization at once. The humans were not gone. They had simply been waiting. The human officer stepped through the long hallway, his boots echoing on the metal floor. The ship lights blinked one by one, waking up like an old giant stretching its limbs. He looked around slowly, trying to remember everything. His name was Captain Liam Drake. He had once commanded the Leviathan, the largest warship in Earth's Navy. It was a final weapon built during the last war against the Council. Back then, Earth stood alone. Everyone had turned against them. And now, more than 500 years had passed. He had survived, frozen in a cryo chamber, while time moved on. A robotic voice spoke through the hallway. Captain confirmed. Status awake. Command functions unlocked. He stopped at a control panel and touched it. A glowing screen opened. Current. Location, Voltron 6. Unknown fleets detected. Galactic Alliance signatures. Warning. Threat level high. So, it's still the same galaxy, Liam muttered. But we're not welcome, are we? Meanwhile, above the moon, the science fleet watched the ship carefully. Council Commander Trevak kept his distance. The last probe that got near had been destroyed without warning. The fleet decided to hold position, but tensions were rising. A message came from the Council's high table. If the human ship shows signs of aggression, you are allowed to respond with force. But avoid full battle if possible. It's easy for them to say, Trevak growled. Sit in high chairs while we face this monster. On the moon's surface, Dr. Kelver hid behind a small rock formation, still watching the Leviathan. Had not evacuated with the others. He wanted to see more. Suddenly a new sound came from the carrier. A large door on the side opened slowly, releasing a hiss of old air. Kelver crouched low. Footsteps echoed inside the ship, human footsteps. A figure appeared in the doorway, wearing a dark gray uniform with a faded Earth symbol on the chest. Kelver's translator whispered a match. Human captain. Rank, Fleet Command. Liam walked to the edge of the ramp and looked up at the stars. The cold air hit his face, but he didn't flinch. He could see the alien ships above. He knew their shapes. He'd studied them in war briefings long ago. He tapped his wrist and spoke quietly. Is Earth still out there? The ship replied, Signal route to Sol System, ... blocked. No open channels. Last known human signal. 407 years ago. Liam's face turned hard. Then it's just me. The Leviathan ship was massive, but it had systems made for war, survival, and rebuilding. As more of its core functions came online, defense turrets moved into place. Invisible shields locked into the outer shell. Old war drones started repairing the hull. The science fleet noticed the changes. They're preparing for battle. One officer said, or maybe they're just waking up. Trevak answered. Unsure. Panic spread across nearby systems. Traders avoided the sector. Colonies activated shields. Empires held emergency meetings. Even the most powerful races remembered what a single human ship had done during the old wars. Liam moved deeper inside the Leviathan. He reached the command center. It was dark at first, then came to life as he stepped inside. Lights turned on. screens. Showed the surrounding system, alien ships, council signals, emergency broadcasts. He placed his hand on the captain's console. Reactor status. Core at 71%. Weapons offline, but ready. Warp drive, standby. Crew status. All deceased. Except one. He took a deep breath. Just me, then. The ship's voice softened. It was built to respond like a partner, not a tool, but a friend. You're not alone, Captain. You have me. Liam smiled faintly. I know, Levi. On the surface, Dr. Kelver stepped forward, arms raised. He wanted to speak with the human. As Liam turned to see the silver-skinned alien, his hand reached for his sidearm, but stopped. The alien didn't look like a soldier. He looked like a historian. Careful, curious Kelver spoke in clear English. You're from the past. You have returned. Liam stared at him, more like, I was left behind. Kelver took another step. Do you remember the war? Liam's voice turned sharp. Every second. Why did your people disappear? We didn't disappear, Liam said. We chose silence. Peace cost us everything, so Earth pulled back. And they buried Leviathan here, just in case. Kelver paused. And now you've awakened. Will you attack? Liam looked at the stars again. Not unless they shoot first. At that moment, a sudden explosion rocked the surface. One of the science ships had fired a warning shot. The council had grown nervous and decided to act. Liam turned and ran back into the ship. Levi, shields up. Prepare for defense. Confirmed. A brilliant dome of energy covered the Leviathan. The blast didn't touch it. In the sky, weapons locked onto the ancient ship. Commander Trevak shouted, Do not fire again. But it was too late. The Leviathan responded fast, silent, and precise. Without launching a single missile, it used electronic pulses. Every ship in the science fleet froze. Their engines failed. Weapons were disabled. Communications went dark within. 10 seconds. The entire fleet was powerless, floating in space. On the moon, Kelver watched in awe. Liam sat in the command chair and stared at the screen. I warned you, he said softly. Across the galaxy, footage of the event spread quickly. Millions watched the moment an old human ship disabled modern fleets without even breaking a sweat, and fear returned. The Leviathan had risen, and the galaxy remembered. Commander Trevak stood frozen on his bridge. The screen showed nothing but static. Every system on his ship had shut down: engines, weapons, shields, even lights. The only thing working was the emergency power keeping life support online. Around him, his officers worked silently, afraid to speak. No one had expected the ancient human ship to fight back like that, and definitely not with such perfect control. What did it do to us? One officer asked in a low voice. Tread didn't. Answer. He had no words. His fleet had been neutralized in less than 10 seconds. No explosions, no noise. Just a flash of energy and complete shutdown. Even the strongest Empire ships would have taken minutes to bring down, but the Leviathan needed only moments. Meanwhile, down on the moon, Dr. Kelver stood beside the human captain, both looking at the sky. You didn't destroy them, Kelver said. I didn't have to, Liam answered. The Leviathan was built not just to fight, but to warn. Sometimes stopping a war is more powerful than winning it. The ship's soft voice added, systems neutralized, no life forms harmed. Awaiting further instruction, Captain. Liam sighed and turned away from the sky. We need to know more. If Earth's gone, then why am I awake now? Why did the ship revive me? Now and not earlier? Kelver followed him inside the massive carrier. The halls were clean, almost untouched by time. Repair drones floated through corridors, sealing cracks, replacing lights, fixing panels. It was like watching a living machine slowly heal itself. They entered the main archive room, a place where the past was still stored. Liam touched the console, and rows of holographic records began to appear. Mission logs, personal notes, orders from command. He scrolled through them quickly. Last orders, he whispered. The final command sent to the Leviathan. To hide, to go silent and wait for a signal. Kelver looked confused. A signal? What kind? Liam narrowed his eyes. One word. Home. If the word was ever sent by someone from Earth, the ship would wake me up. Kelver blinked. So, someone sent it? Liam shook his head. No, that's the problem. The signal wasn't sent from Earth. It came from a relay station controlled by the Galactic Council, which means someone wanted to wake me up. Just then, the ship's voice spoke again. Captain, new message received. Source, unknown. Playing audio. A voice came through the speakers, alien, cold and clear. We know your ship lives. We know your kind once ruled fear. If the Leviathan rises again, the balance ends. We cannot allow that. Liam's fists tightened. They sent the signal to wake me up just so they could find the ship's location. Kelver looked worried. But why? Why bring it back only to destroy it? To make sure humanity never returns. Liam replied. They fear us more than they admit. They wanted to trap us. Back in space, Council reinforcements were arriving. New warships, larger and better armed, came out of warp. Dozens of them. The largest fleet the Council had sent in a century. But none of them moved close. They stayed far away, watching the Leviathan like hunters, circling a beast inside the ship. Liam prepared for anything. He sat in the command chair, checking each system. Warp drive, Levi replied. Lebby replied. Weapons. Fully online. All turrets and missile bays armed. Precision strike systems ready. Good. Let's see what they want. The Council's lead warship sent a message. Liam allowed it to play. Human vessel. You are in restricted space. Power down your ship and surrender for inspection. Smiled coldly. You woke me up just to try and chain me? I don't think so, he responded. This is Captain Liam Drake of the Leviathan. This ship is property of Earth. We are not surrendering. We're not a threat unless you make us. There was a long silence. Then another message came. Your kind left this galaxy, kept the peace in your absence. Your return threatens that peace. Kelver watched Liam quietly. He knew what was coming. Liam stood up and walked to the large front window of the bridge. Peace, he said aloud. You mean fear? You ruled by fear because we weren't here to stop you. He pressed a button. Levi, send a message to Earth. Repeat transmission until it gets through. Tell them their old warship is back-end. Their people are needed again, confirmed Captain. As the message was sent, the galaxy began to listen. Hidden colonies, rogue stations. Even the few human outposts left in deep space. One by one, they received the signal. Leviathan has returned. Earth, respond. Meanwhile, the Council fleet started to move. They didn't fire. Instead, they began surrounding the moon, forming a blockade. Kelver stepped forward. They want to trap you again. Liam nodded. But they've forgotten one thing. Leviathan isn't just a ship. She's a weapon that learns. Plot jump. Coordinates, he said. We're not staying here. The ship's engines powered up. The ground shook. Light gathered under the hull as ancient warp drives charged. Commander Travak, watching from the fleet, realized too late what was happening. There, preparing to jump. Stop them. His orders came to slow. The Leviathan disappeared in a flash of blue light, warping away before a single shot could be fired. And just like that, the galaxy lost track of the most dangerous ship ever built. But the message had already spread. Humans were not extinct. They were returning. The Leviathan tore through space as it exited the warp. Stars stretched and bent before snapping back into place. The huge ship appeared near the edge of a dead system once, a mining colony, now long abandoned. Asteroids floated silently. Broken. Stations drifted in the dark. Liam stood on the bridge, arms crossed, watching the empty screen. Status, he asked. Levi, the ship's voice replied gently. No threats detected. No signals. We are alone. Dr. Kelver walked in from the back, holding a small datapad. He had stayed with Liam, unwilling to return to the council. Now, he seemed part scientist, part historian, and part witness to something larger than himself. "We're safe for now," Kelver said, "but they'll find us again." Liam nodded. "That's fine. We're not hiding forever. I just needed Tom." He looked at the message log again. Their signal to Earth had been sent on a loop, but there was still no reply. Over 500 years had passed. Maybe Earth really was gone. "I don't get it," Liam said quietly. "Why hasn't anyone answered?" Kelver sat down slowly. Perhaps they were broken, scattered. Maybe they were afraid. Or maybe they believed the Council's lies that Leviathan was destroyed and you were lost forever. Liam shook his head no. We had fallback beacons, hidden networks. Someone should have picked it up. At that moment, the ship spoke again. Incoming transmission. Encrypted. Origin. Unknown. Language. Terran Standard. Patching through, Liam turned sharply. Kelver stood. The message played. "To the captain of the Leviathan, if this message reaches you," then the stories were true. You survived. We are what's left of the Terran diaspora. We've waited, scattered across the stars, hiding, surviving. Now we come. The screen showed a small, human fleet, a mix of old warships, modified cargo carriers, and strange hybrid ships with parts from different alien species. They didn't look powerful, but they looked determined. Coordinates attached. We are gathering. Liam smiled for the first time in days. "Plot a course, Levi." Course set. Estimated arrival. 6 hours. Kelver stared at him.
"Oh, you're calling them together?"
"They called us," Liam replied. "The humans weren't destroyed. They just spread out. Waited like us." As Leviathan moved toward the new coordinates, the Council was already reacting. In their main chamber, leaders from 5 alien species gathered. Screens showed footage of the Leviathan escaping. Behind them, data feeds screamed with panic. "We told you not to wake it," shouted one ambassador. "You ordered it." Another argued, "You said it was safe." The high speaker, a gray-skinned elder with glowing eyes, raised his hand. "Enough. It has already happened. The question is, what do we do now?" A younger member, sharp and bold, leaned forward. "We must destroy it before they fully return." "And what if we fail?" the elder asked. "We've seen what one human ship can do. What if there are more?" "Then we must show strength. If we don't, fear will spread. Others will rise beside the humans." The council voted. The result was clear. Send a fleet. Block the human gathering. End the threat before it becomes war. But back in deep space, something else was happening. Leviathan entered a silent region near an asteroid belt. Ships floated, their some damaged, some new, some old, and patched together. They lit up one by one as Leviathan arrived. Liam stood on the bridge as hundreds of signals greeted them. "We see you. We are here. Welcome back, Leviathan." Small shuttle docked with the Leviathan. A woman stepped out, wearing a mix of old Terran armor and alien-made gear. Her hair was gray at the edges, but her eyes burned with fire. "Captain Liam Drake," she asked. "That's me. I'm Commander Elena Ross, born in the Halcyon Ring, raised on human myths. And now I serve what's left of us." They shook hands firmly. "How many of you are there?" Liam asked. "Thousands of ships," Elena replied. "Millions of people spread across zones. We kept moving, hiding from the council. But the signal brought us together. We've been waiting for the Leviathan." Liam looked at the screens. Many of the ships weren't military. They were cargo haulers, science vessels, even old colony transports. "You brought everyone," he said. "Not everyone," Elena said softly. "Just the brave ones." Kelver watched from the side. This is history happening, no?" Elena corrected him. "This is the future rising." But the peace didn't last long. Levi interrupted the moment. "Alert. Council fleet detected. Incoming trajectory. ETA, 2 hours. Force strength, heavy." Liam's face hardened. "They're coming." Elena nodded. "We knew they would." Liam turned to his team. We'll defend this gathering. We're not running this time. All systems ready, Captain, Levi said. The human fleet began forming. Ranks. Even the cargo ships took positions behind the few war-ready vessels. They had no illusions they couldn't match the Council fleet in size or power. But they had something stronger. Purpose. Alina sent a message across the human ships. Stand. Your ground, if they come, they will know. We are not ghosts. You're not myths. We are human. And we are back. Liam watched the dark sky and said softly, "Then let's show them what they feared for centuries." The Leviathan's lights glowed brighter, its cannons rotated, its shields pulsed. And deep in its core, an old war engine hummed like a heartbeat steady. And strong, the humans were ready, and the storm was coming. The human fleet floated quietly in space, just beyond the shattered asteroid belt. Their ships were smaller, older, and fewer than the incoming enemy. But none of them ran. No one backed down. The Leviathan stood in the center, calm and steady. As the first signs of the Council fleet came into view, Captain Liam Drake stood on the bridge of the Leviathan. Beside him was Commander Alina Ross, her arms crossed and her eyes locked on the screen. "They're here," she said. Liam nodded. "Let them come." The Council fleet entered from multiple directions, hundreds of ships, battleships, dreadnoughts, heavy cruisers. They moved like a wave, dark and powerful. Their weapons were charged, their formations tight. They didn't send a message. They had made their choice. Dr. Kelver stood behind Liam, nervous. "This is no small force. This is a war fleet. We want to end it before it begins," Alina said. Liam stepped forward and spoke calmly. "Open channel to all human ships." Soft beep confirmed the connection. "This is Captain Liam Drake. 500 years ago, we fought alone. We built this ship to be our last defense. Now we stand together. They want to erase us, but we are not afraid. Hold your ground. Stay sharp. Remember, every second we stand is a message, humanity still lives across the small fleet." Cheers echoed. Even those in old cargo ships tightened their grips, ready to help in any way they could. Then the battle began. Council ships opened fire. Red beams and plasma torpedoes flew across space. The first wave aimed straight at the human front line. 3 civilian ships were hit, one breaking apart. Alarms blared. "Return fire," Liam ordered. The Leviathan responded instantly. Its cannons roared. Its railguns struck with perfect aim. One enemy cruiser exploded in a flash. The Council ships scattered, trying to dodge the sudden counterattack. Levi spoke through the ship. "Multiple lock-ons. Targeting complete. Precision weapons online." The Leviathan fired again, striking 3 more enemy ships at once. The Council fleet realized too late they had walked into a trap. Leviathan didn't just fire with power, it fired with intelligence. Behind the Leviathan, human ships played their part. Smaller ships carried decoys, launched repair drones, and even acted as shields for others. The fleet moved like one body, clumsy but full of heart. But the enemy was massive. The Council ships regrouped and launched a heavy wave of missiles. One struck a human frigate, tearing it in half. Another slammed into Elena's support ship, damaging its engines. Liam gritted his teeth. "Levi, deploy the arc shield." Confirming. Arc shield active. A bright blue wall of energy formed in front of the human fleet. The next wave of missiles hit it, but the shield held. Explosions danced along the surface but never broke through. Then came the real. Strike. 5 of the Council's dreadnoughts advanced at once. They locked weapons on the Leviathan. Each was nearly as large as the human ship. Together, they had enough firepower to destroy a moon, Kelva whispered. "Can we survive that?" Liam didn't blink. "Leva, time for the Ghost Protocol. Initiating. Stealth field charging. False signals online." In a flash, the Leviathan vanished from the screen, not cloaked but split into 5 phantom images, each moving in a different direction. The dreadnoughts hesitated. They fired anyway. Their weapons struck nothing but empty space. The real Leviathan appeared behind them. "Fire everything," Liam ordered. Missiles, beams, kinetic blasts. They all hit at once. One dreadnought was destroyed instantly, another drifted powerless. The rest turned in panic, confused and disoriented. From her own ship, Alina laughed. She didn't expect that. But the battle was far from over. More enemy ships came from the side, trying to flank the humans. They targeted the weaker ships first. Liam saw it on the screen and frowned. They're going after the civilians. We don't have enough. Fighters to protect them all, Kelver said. Liam looked up. Then we don't use fighters. He activated a special command. Levi, activate the Colossus Bay. The side of the Leviathan opened, revealing something massive, a human-built drone platform. Inside were old, forgotten machines, giant weaponized drones from the early human wars. They launched into space, glowing with blue lights, moving like angry hounds. They swarmed the flanking ships and tore into them. Within minutes, the tide turned. Council ships started pulling back. Their formations broke. Panic spread through their fleet. On the human side, cheers rose again. Fleet was still standing. Still now. It was winning. On the bridge, Liam watched silently. Don't chase them. Let them go. Enemy fleet retreating, Levi confirmed. Victory confirmed. Lena stepped beside him. They'll return. Let them, Liam replied. We'll be ready. The screen showed pieces of broken ships floating, sparks flying through, the silence of space. But among the wreckage, the human fleet stood strong. Messages started coming in from all across the galaxy. We heard the signal. We saw the battle. How do we join? Colonies in hiding. Humans who had blended in among other species. Even some alien worlds that had once been allies of Earth, they all wanted to speak, to help, to remember. Dr. Kelver stepped forward and spoke softly. They were wrong to bury you. We're not just a weapon. You were a reminder. And now, you are a leader. Liam didn't answer. He just looked out into space. Double quotes Levi. Open all channels, he said. All channels open. Liam spoke clearly. This is the Leviathan, to all humans. To all friends, to anyone who remembers us. We are alive. And we are returning not for war, but for truth, for peace, for our place in this galaxy. Earth is not gone. It is waiting. So are we. As the message spread, so did hope. The Leviathan turned slowly, leading the fleet, and behind it the future followed.